Jump over to DVA. DVA was very nice off of that bottom right there. Okay, here we go. Let's pop over here. You can see that there was, and this was a name we did highlight right here. There was a trough that was due on 8.571 to 923. Use the way that the RS is behaving to help you to identify cycle structure. It really can simplify your process. Okay. If you want to do cycle analysis, you can overlay the cycle brackets on your chart. Use the RS on both the weekly and daily to help to confirm what phase you're in. And based on your style of trading, you can figure out where your entry points would be in these rising modes. It's going to be different for every one of us, right? But if you use these just really simple indicators to help you, and then overlay cycle analysis, which obviously has to be done as of now with our eyes. You can have a real edge there. And we've shown that to you now for many years. We are now coming up on our 10th year as a business. So we've been doing this a long time, just in the public eye, showing you over time the process works. Does it work all the time? Of course not. Does any process work all the time? No. But that's why you always have your levels that tell you that you are wrong on a given idea. But overall, psychoanalysis adds a meaningful edge to understand how should an underlying be behaving in a given time period. Then you overlay our indicators, and all of a sudden, you can see what can give you that confirmation that either an up move is going or a down move is now in play, right? And that's how you can build out a trade plan over time. So right here in DVA, this is what we saw. We saw a bullish right-hand translation forming. Look at these old highs. Okay, we had a rally back up, a test of these prior cycle highs. I look at that as a test and hold. And I love that it happened on earnings. Go back, I know we all know what happened on 8.5, but this name, look at where it was on 8.5. Downtrend line right there. That's immediately where the eyes should go. There was a downtrend line right there. It was an earnings move. If we take out the high from the earnings day, 142.88, I just wanted to rehash what happened here because you see these same setups over and over again. So just, keep that as a frame of reference. Clear downtrend line, a bearish day that closed weak. If we start trading back above here, all of these traders who were short there are now in trouble, correct? So that's at 142.88. And then look at the RS turning green right here. On this bar right here, it turned green. So now all of a sudden you have a downtrend break, number one, a turn up in the RS on the daily time frame, and a weekly trough that is due. That is your signal to be involved here for a move up. And you can see it held the rising ribbon as it trended higher, right? So that's why I'm always highlighting that. Use that as a trending indicator. You can always keep a trailing stop versus that rising 21 on a closing basis, and it can offer you really solid swing opportunities if that is your style. Okay. Now, in this kind of situation, if you're buying here towards the close on this bar because you have the RS green and you have a now neutral ribbon, so if you're buying close to 143, where would my stop be? My stop would have to be, if I bring over my trend line tool here, I don't really want to see it get back below that low. So you're talking about a $10 stop. So that's a little wider, of course, but I want to give this room to see it play out. So you have a $10 stop. You're at $12 here. So you've already had a over 1 hour trade, and then obviously it went all the way up to a almost 3 hour trade in time. Okay, I'm sorry, a 2-hour trading time. So that's the way that I would like to look at it. Um, Give it a little bit of room if it wanted to chop around a little bit prior to going, as long as that RS stayed green. That's a valid way to approach it just using a daily chart. You all know that I like to use both 2-hour and 4-hour for the actual entries, but I'm just sharing with you to keep this simple. Just a weekly and daily chart. How would you get involved here? Or how would I like to get involved here? Trend line break, RS turning green, slim ribbon turning green, weekly trough due, very clear weekly cycles. You're buying somewhere here. Your risk could be it, it obviously can always be tighter, but if you want to keep it wide, you can keep it all the way down here at 133. And then you just trim and trail. You're just trailing it. And this is, again, a pause here with the dominant slim ribbon positive. That's a pause. And then it turned back up again. So this is a really simple way to trade rising modes, especially when they happen on earnings. Earnings are such an important thing to be watching for, and the way an underlying trades after earnings, key way to spot trend reversals or troughs that form, are frequently right around earnings. So these are things that we have to watch very closely. Now, the overall question was, where are we now? Well, what has happened since that point is you can see a little ascending triangle type of pattern that was forming here. We then broke out of it to the upside, and very hard to read bullish right hand translation. This is not something that I would have played up here, just as a heads up. This is very, very hard to read. That trough didn't even get a dip down into the rising ribbons, which is what I would normally look for to be the entry spot. We didn't even get there, so that is not an opportunity I would have played. And at this point, we have a trough that is due somewhere around the later part of February. It's had its move, in my opinion, all the way up to the 61.8 to the 78.6 zone, 179 to 192 or so. To me, this does seem like it needs a bit of a rest, as that is not a very clear trough, and I would call that a weak base. So it would be quite reasonable to see a test of that low at 167.57 in the coming weeks. Obviously, what would need to happen is you need to see on the 2-hour the RS turn. This is going to load. The RS turn red, and this is not going to load. Okay, well, in any event, watch for that 2-hour RS to turn red to give you an indication of at least a near-term high. And if that were to happen, I would be looking for a test of 167. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I wanted to do a little bit of a deeper dive here because this was a really clean setup here off of the trough. Look at how consistent these cycles have been. Very consistent, absolutely perfect. And you can see sharp down, right? You can see that action into the trough. That's what you look for into a low. And if you see it, your eyes should really get wider and say, okay, this is an opportunity. I've seen this before, and know how to act. That's really what I'm trying to convey.